Welcome to the Remnant Teen Outreach Center. Well, actually, we're not quite there yet. We're not at the point yet where we can welcome people in to our Teen Outreach Center. We want to, though, and that's why I'm talking to you today. I need your help. Let's take this from a vision to reality. See, our vision is to have a place here in the Bloomingdale neighborhood of the Fort Wayne, Indiana, where we can help young people who have been abused and neglected, rejected and abandoned, who are living in poverty, young people who think that they are nothing, they are unworthy, that there is no reason to keep living. And we can have that, but not alone. I cannot do this alone. I need you. I need you to come alongside us and help make this a reality. Let me give you a story here, a real story. I'm not going to use this young lady's real name. This is someone I knew when I was a child in this neighborhood, when I was living through poverty, when I was abused and neglected, when I was rejected and abandoned, before God pulled me out. You know, I was this way. I was one of these children I'm going to talk to you about, one of the children we want to help with this Teen Outreach Center, until the Taylor family in Zanesville, Indiana pulled me out. They showed me that someone could care about me. They gave me hope. They showed me I could have a future. And today, you know, I have a master's degree in business. My bachelor's degree is in computer informational science. My master's is in business administration. I became a CFO and a minister. And all that while overcoming and dealing with the problems of those that tried to destroy me and tried to destroy my mind and my life, you know, severe mental illnesses. But today, let me tell you about this young lady, a girl I knew. She was a little bit older than me, so I probably knew her when I was around 11. The last time I saw her, she was 12. And this girl, you know, looking back now and knowing the things I know and the signs I know, she was almost certainly being raped by her stepfather. She was absolutely being beaten because she regularly had bruises, but that wasn't anything unusual for us. You know, lots of kids in that neighborhood ended up with bruises back then in the late 70s, early 80s, because so many of us in this neighborhood were being abused. We were being beaten on regularly. And so seeing bruises was nothing unusual, but this girl was, again, looking back in hindsight, I would say she was severely depressed. She rarely talked to anyone, and when she did, you can get these glimpses of how smart she was. This girl could have been anything. She could have done something that would have changed the entire world. She might have ended up being a medical doctor. She might have ended up being a scientist or a leading businesswoman. But instead, she was quiet. She was clearly having problems. How do I describe this? She was dirty even for what was considered normal in that neighborhood. She was picked on and abused all the time by other kids because her hair was so nasty, her clothes were so ratty. And again, we were street punks. I mean, we never had clean clothes. We never had new clothes. I was 16 before I even found out what deodorant was or what you used it for. And this girl was terrible compared to us. And so she was picked on, she was attacked, she was bullied, we'd say today, although we didn't know that term back then. And Jane was just, it's such a sad sight. And then one day she disappeared. She just wasn't there anymore. And rumor had it was that she had killed herself, 12 years old, and she killed herself because that was the only answer, the only way for her to stop that pain. I never saw her again after that day, so most likely that's what happened. Her mother, her stepfather were still around. She was the only child, at least the only child at home, but Jane was just gone. Nobody ever talked about her again, out loud. You know, again, there were rumors, kids saying, oh, she killed herself. And the way she just disappeared, nobody ever talked about her. It probably did happen, because that happened a lot back then. But you know what? It's still happening today. Not just in the Bloomingdale neighborhood, not just in the Nebraska neighborhood that's next to it, but all over Fort Wayne, all over this country. Children are being abused. Children are being forced to live in poverty, in terrible situations because their parents are addicted, or their parents are alcoholics, or their parents just don't care. See, it's a cycle that's repeating itself year after year, generation after generation. And Jane, you know what? Again, she could have been anything. She could have went on to something amazing. But because adults around her ignored what was going on, they kept their mouths shut and pretended it wasn't happening, that girl ended up dead at her own hands at 12 years old. And that is still happening today. And that's why I have this vision for a teen center, a teen outreach center. They'll give them a place to come, a place, number one, where they will feel safe. Number two, where they will want to come in. But most importantly, a place where they finally feel ownership over something. This is their place. This is about them. This is for them and about them, and it is them. But I need your help. I need you to come alongside and help us to do this. We're calling it the Remnant Teen Outreach Center, and we want to place it here in the Bloomingdale neighborhood of Fort Wayne, Indiana, preferably along the Wells Street corridor, where there's lots of traffic, where there's lots of people going by that can see it, but also where all the young people will know where it is. It's on a bus line, so if they're coming from somewhere else in the city, they can take the bus over there and get off right there. But I need your help to make this a reality. I'm asking you to come alongside with us. I'm asking you to help make this a reality. Sign up. Go to our website, theremnantfw.com, and look at what's there. There's a place there you can fill out your contact information, and we will get back to you. There's a PayPal button. If you're not in Fort Wayne, or if you're not someone who can physically volunteer to help us with this, you can donate and help offset some of the expenses that we're having for getting this set up, doing the preliminary work that's going to be necessary there. Do that. But we need you. Now, I want you to think. I want to talk directly to parents whose kids have never been through this. You raised your children to have what they needed. They never knew what it was like to be hungry. They never knew what it was like to be beaten. They never knew what it was like to have someone that should care about them calling them the most vile of names. Your children have never been sexually molested. Think about what these other children are like. We spend so much time living in our bubbles, pretending these terrible things are not happening, or they're happening to somebody else, and so they don't matter. They do matter. And so I'm reaching out to you. I'm asking you, if your children have never been in these situations, step up and do something to help children that are. Step in and help us. Help us make this a reality so we can change them. Think about what could happen. I mean, there may be another child out here that's like me, has a very strong intelligence level. They are very, very smart. But all that's being wasted because of the pain they're being put through, because of the way they're being treated. But what about if we stepped in to help them? What if we brought them out of that? We helped break that cycle of abuse and addiction and violence. Not only can we transform this neighborhood, transform Fort Wayne, we might help somebody go on to become a Harvard-educated doctor, a Stanford-educated scientist that will create a cure that will save countless numbers of people. That's what's at stake here. But just common humanity, common decency should call on every one of us to step forward and help them. We need volunteers. We need people who can step up and serve on the board of the Teen Outreach Center. We need people who can make phone calls to city officials or to the businesses and churches in this neighborhood so that we all come together in partnership to do this. We're going to need funds as we go along here. We're not really in full fundraising mode yet, but there are expenses that we're going through right now that we're having, and we could use help offsetting some of those. We need an executive director to come on and do all of these things, because my calling is to reach children, to make sure that there's not another girl like my friend who lost her brother at way too young of an age. Her brother was molested by a teacher at the local elementary school, and she lost him to death at way too young of an age. I want to make sure that never happens again. I want to touch these children. So I ask you now, please come alongside us, partner with us in making this a reality. We have a group on Facebook called the Remnant Outreach. Join us there and talk about this. Go to our website, as I said, theremnantfw.com. Send an email to info@theremnantfw.com. Be a part of this. Help us make a difference in the lives of young people who have no one that cares about them. We want our first step, our first goal with these young people is to make a connection. Show them that somebody cares. Show them they're the type of young person that somebody could care about. Do you care? Do you care about others as much as you care about your own children? There are so many children who don't have what your children had. Let's give them that chance. Let's give them the chance to be all that they could be and to come out from this, to break that cycle, to know that they don't have to put up with abuse, physical or sexual or emotional. They don't have to look forward to a life of nothing but addiction and going in and out of prison. But only you can make that happen, and only if you step up and become a partner with us in building the Remnant Teen Outreach Center here in the Bloomingdale neighborhood of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and making it a reality. Thank you.